Interesting phenomenon. The video camera on this phone, the Samsung Galaxy S24, you can see the sliver of the moon when you go to video. It picks it up better. You can see it there quite clearly. And when I try to do the camera, it doesn't like focusing on it. It shows it all blurry. If you try to zoom right in on it, it won't focus at all. But when you've got something in focus, I found that with my last camera, which was the Galaxy S10, which I had for several years, obviously. And is at this time of night, or slightly darker, is that you could actually take way better photos or videos of the stars than you can when it's completely black. You'd think that the exposure levels would adjust for best light conditions and make the stars appear brighter the darker it is, but interestingly, they appear better in twilight. Now this is something that just came up today, thinking about the nature of light and the nature of the ability to see stars. Somebody shared this really cool video of time-lapse photography of the stars moving through the sky by going to a remote place. I think it was the Bolivian salt flats of all places, the Selundia, I can't pronounce it. Anyway, you know what I mean. And yeah, the dude, stayed camping out there and took time-lapse photos of the stars, and they're just brilliant. Now my theory is, and this is a new one too, so bear with me, is that because the sun creates the daylight, it's not creating it from sunlight. It's creating it from solar radiant energy, which stimulates the noble gases of the atmosphere, which, as you can see, they're all different gradients at this time of day. They still appear quite blue for now, but nowhere near as blue as the blue sky of the day. They're the ones up higher. The lower ones is where the neon is, which gives you the orange and the yellows. But they all fluoresce via sunlight or solar radiant energy, I prefer to use. They all fluoresce, which is also called ionization, and that's what gives us coloured light and daylight, and now subsequently, because the sun is no longer visible, twilight. Obviously to the gases higher up, they're still able to see the sun, so that's why they are still blue. So when we're in a city situation or anywhere with street lights, anything like that, is that what we call light pollution, it isn't just a matter of exposure that prevents us from seeing the stars. It's actually that light is interfering, creating like an interference pattern in the atmosphere. It is actually still somewhat electrostimulating, ionizing those gases of the atmosphere, which give us ordinary daylight and twilight and so on. And that is actually what is blocking our view of the stars. So when you go to somewhere with no light pollution whatsoever, the full influence of the stars affects the atmosphere between us and them and gives us the full colour spectrum of whatever vibration and frequency they are producing to make us see twinkling starlight. And some of them that produce multiple frequencies, because they are literally the choir of the angels. They are making their own frequency, and some of them will appear to be changing colour all the time. That colour is coming from our atmosphere. It's created by the star. It's created by the angel in heaven. But it's all to do with the atmosphere, the Mother Earth. She is the giver of light. She's the receiver of light. She creates the light. And that's why that moon still appears relatively close. Like if I was to estimate the distance to my horizon, from here I'd say no, it's not even 10 kilometres. It'd be roughly 10 kilometres. Because that's where that little mountainy thing directly beneath the moon sort of rises up. It'd be 8 to 10 kilometres. But the moon is kind of like in focus as well, because she is projected from the moon into our atmosphere, and that atmospheric layer sort of stops at around 18 to 20 kilometres high. And that's where it creates its fluorescence in the noble gases. In the case of the moon, I think it particularly fluoresces krypton and xenon, which is why it creates that greyish sort of light, or silver light, as we call it. And that's why we don't see colour under a full moon, but we see colour under full sun spectrum, because it fluoresces all the atmospheric gases, just like a full spectrum light bulb. But this one here, of the moon, I'm quite happy and pleased to get this lovely crescent of it on a beautiful evening. Might even try zooming in a little. We'll see how we go. It'll probably go out of focus. But I'm predicting it has to get a little bit darker yet. Take another video perhaps when it does. I'm predicting when it's a little bit darker, another half hour or so, we will see the entire part of the unlit side of the moon. And that, in one of my opinions, I've got several, one that I like to throw about anyway, is a result of the moon's semi-opaqueness, or somewhat see-through. And when we see that dark part, we're actually seeing the light through the moon on the other side of it, where it is fully lit, because there's always a full moon from the perspective of the sun. The side that's facing the sun is fully illuminated. But to us, we only see the part relative to the sun projected from the moon into our atmosphere to create that apparition of light that we call the moon. Still no stars. Normally there'd be one or two by now. Zoom out a little bit. Look, 0.9 zoom are usually worse. Surely there'd be one over here by now. Surely. Don't call me Shirley. No, not yet. No, that is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. 1.6 times zoom. What a beautiful sight. 2.6. We get up to 3.4. Any more than that, we lose the landscape. 3.5 times zoom. 7:30 p.m. East coast of Australia. Eastern Standard Time, 12th of March, 2024. How gorgeous.